Computer. Excellent. All right. So, wow, Simone, this is amazing. What we're building is amazing. And wow. So today, a lot to go over. So I'm going to jump right in. So today we're going to be talking about three main things. Number one, paycheck routine. Number two, building multiple streams of income. And number three, improving your credit score. Ooh, this is a good one.
Ooh, that's a
All right.
good one.
So,
That's a
so
good
now
one.
Simone, so now especially in, areas where the cost of living is very high, the concept of paycheck routine can be very challenging, right? Because a
Right.
lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. But here's what I'm thinking, just bouncing off ideas. I'm thinking is everyone should really, focus on trying to get their paycheck routine to be where less than 50% of their income is going towards living expenses so that they can do 20% into investing
Investing. Right.
and then another 20% into saving, right? Like building up that emergency fund and whatever, or saving for future purchases, future, car
Rainy
purchases,
day.
or right, yeah, yeah, or future vacations that they want to go on, what I'm saying? It's saving up for large purchases, right? And then 10% though, very important to giving, whether it's a tithe or or any other type of charitable giving and stuff. What are your thoughts about that paycheck routine? 50% to spending, 20% to investing, 20% to saving, and 10% to giving.
Okay, and when we look at 50% of spending,
Yeah.
what will we be spending
Good point.
specifically on?
Good point. So that would be everything in terms of living expenses, but also debt reduction and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I like that. 50% there and then okay, because we have to start off because a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
So
True.
they don't even know that they're
True.
not even seeing what they really have to
True.
be able to want to invest into other things other
True.
than just paying their rent. And that's
True.
how some people get behind on their bills and it leads to bad credit because they're just paying their bills.
Right.
That's it. If they
Right.
can even pay their bills. So when we bring in the conversation of investing and saving, it's
Mhm.
it's a little different, you know?
True.
So
True.
I think that's
It,
smart to put 50% into spending. Yeah.
it's aggressive. It
Yeah, it's
definitely
very
is. It's
aggressive. Yeah.
very aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. But good point, good point. We want people to prioritize, keeping the lights on, right? You got to prioritize keeping the lights on. Got to prioritize, paying your bills on time because we're going to
That's
be
what
talking about how they really impact your credit score if you have any type of late payment, right? So we want them to
right.
prioritize taking care of those, those bills, and
And I
then
always tell people pay yourself first,
right.
meaning putting when you hear pay yourself first, that means investing and saving. Not
Mhm.
going to go pay off bills or, pay
True.
yourself first, put your money away so that you can invest.
True.
So
True. Good point. Very good point. All right. And then now, and thinking about this, I remember last time we were talking about financial guidance financial guidance for 1099 workers. And just as a brief recap, we were talking about how, we want these entrepreneurs to get paid in their business name because that helps them to be able to separate their business income from their personal
personal.
income, right? And we want them to track every penny, keep track of where their money's going. And we want them to take advantage of tax write-offs, right? The business
Right.
deductions and stuff. And, we want them to, create a system for their money and all that. And then also we were talking about building multiple streams of income, and which is where we kind of left off last time, right? Multiple streams of income. And so let's dig deep into this concept of multiple streams of income. Now, when you think about it, there are seven types of income streams, right? Seven categories of income streams. You got W-2 income, business income, interest income, dividend income, capital gains income, rental income, and royalty income, right? So pretty much
Right.
everything falls into those seven different categories. And so let's see, and then of course some of the categories are more active income and others are more passive income, right? But everything
Right.
falls into those seven categories. Let's roll through and just talk about giving people examples of the different types of income streams that they can have under each category. So the first one is one that we all relate to is the W-2 income, right?
Right. So
That's
working
a
a nine to
regular job,
five.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I think about my life, and I think about like my first W-2 income was a Subway sandwich shop. I was in the ninth grade. This was back in 1995, right? And it was Subway sandwich shop. And then later, I've worked at Marriott Hotel, a Marriott Hotel. I've worked at just different jobs. I even when I was in school and in college, I was even got a job at the library, which is really cool because I could like study as well as, work and
Yeah.
everything. So just think about different type of jobs. How about you, Simone? What are some W-2 jobs you've had in your life?
Ooh, I mean, I started when I was like 13 working
Wow.
for City of Rockville as a leader in training, and then went from a leader in training to an employee for summer camps. So
Ah,
I did summer camps for a few years. I worked at Starbucks.
okay.
I worked at Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
I
yeah.
worked at UPS.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I've worked at Gap. I worked at Gap as well. So a bunch of retail jobs.
Okay.
Where there's a steady paycheck coming in
Right. Steady pay.
every 2 weeks.
Right, 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 right.
So
And so and so one of the common things about all of those W-2 jobs is that they were all active income, meaning you were
yeah,
trading your time for
time for
money.
money.
Time
Yep.
for money. Wow,
Yep.
wow, wow,
And
wow.
I had woke up one day and I'm like, I no longer want to give my time away
Right.
to money when I'm here all day and I go home and I'm tired. I don't want to think about anything else but waking up tomorrow to do the same thing
Right,
over and over again, you know?
right, right, right,
So
right, right,
I
right.
think
Yeah.
W-2s make you forget about your dreams in life.
Ah, that's deep. That's deep. Now, of course, all of us have to start with the W-2, but we
Right.
shouldn't end there. We should use the W-2 jobs as a stepping stone to, b bigger and better things and stuff like that. And especially, saving a portion and investing a portion so that we can build passive income so that we don't have to always rely on trading our time for money. We can build assets that make money for us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is good.
That's
Now,
beautiful.
the next one is business income, right? So that's about entrepreneurship. That's when you start a business and you are working, you are self-employed, right? And everything.
Hmm.
So I think about my thing is I was an accounting tutor. That was one of the businesses that I started. I was an accounting tutor. Also got into public speaking, motivational speaking, which, fun fact, that's how we first met, Simone. That's amazing. You
Yep.
remember when I came to your school to do
School. Yeah.
motivational presentation. That's awesome. Awesome. So the public speaking business was one. Also, dance fitness. Doing dance parties for little kids, also bookkeeping business, a lot of different businesses where it's like I created the business and I'm self-employed. Simone, share with us a few examples of the businesses that you've had.
My first business was a shoe shine and repair company. So we would
Wow.
shine shoes, repair them. Then I went over to helping people with their credit. I started a credit repair and tax business. Then I started a billboard business. Oh, I've done so much.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
Airbnb business. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun at building
yeah,
a business, huh? Where you're able
yeah.
to kind of like, churn your passions into profits, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it's the freedom that I love. That's the freedom is what I seek.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's good. Now, next one is interest income, right? Interest income, right? And so this is we're getting into the passive income streams now, right? This is very passive. This is great. So now some examples would be that high yield savings account, right? Where,
Yep.
where, where we want people to put their emergency fund money into like a high yield savings account or a money market account if they like money markets. But I personally like high yield savings accounts. Currently, they pay like around 4%. It fluctuates based on like the Federal Reserve and everything, but they pay much higher interest than a regular traditional savings account, right? So,
Yeah.
but this is a type of income stream, even though it's a small interest, but it is something and it adds up.
Right.
So, how
Stocks as
you,
well.
was that?
Stocks.
Stocks. Well, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Now stocks would be more like dividends and capital gains, right? Which we're
Oh,
gonna,
okay.
right. But bonds would be the
Bonds.
interest, right? Bonds.
Yeah.
Private money lending, right? I've gone into private money lending where like I have a investors network where we collectively do private money lending for house flippers, because you know how like house
Yep.
flippers
Yep.
often when they're going through the renovation, they often have like a hard money loan, but also they often need something called gap funding, which is like funds to carry them over between the draw schedule points of the hard money loan, right? And everything. So
Right.
money lending, and that can be very lucrative. Also, I mean, there's a certain level of risk, though, of course, right, and everything. But
Yeah.
there's
I
that.
know people that
Yeah, you know people that
that's
do
all
that.
they do is hard money lending and they
Hard money.
make a fortune off of
Right.
just hard money lending.
Right, so excellent. And then there's different, as a side note, there's different ways to mitigate the risk. Like if you get a lien on the property,
Yep.
the loan, so that therefore if there's a default, then the private money lender can actually
Take their
take the
house.
property, right? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So it's these types of things that we really want to get people, exposed to, right? Because a lot of people don't understand hard money lending or private money lending, right? Because it's something that they were never taught, so
Yep.
that's good. So that's some interest examples of like, interest income, coming in and everything. Yeah. Simone, in any particular thing from your life that you do, like either whether it's bonds or high yield savings accounts or anything, or CDs or anything?
High yield savings account, definitely.
Oh, that's
I've
cool.
just gotten into hard money lending,
Oh, okay.
just with my network of people
Uh,
giving out money and then they
yeah.
paying me back, but it's an interest on that. So,
Nice.
I'm getting
Nice.
more than what I even,
Yes.
um, gave out. So I think
Yeah.
that's very lucrative.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And another thing I really like about private money lending and hard money lending is that the educational experience of it all, right? Because when you're lending to house flippers, you are involved, and you can kind of like learn a lot about real estate, and
Yeah.
everything, right? So yeah, that's cool. Now, next one is dividends, right? So we got dividend and also capital gains, right? Now, dividend, of course, is when, like the company is giving a portion of their profits to the shareholders, right? And everything. And so,
Right.
so when you're investing in the stock market, you're gonna be able to get dividends, right? If the company declares dividends and whatever. And then also capital gains, that's where the asset increases, right? And everything. So for dividends, an example would be stock market investing. For capital gains, we have, two examples, right? Stock market investing, but also real estate investing, right? Because capital
Mm-hmm.
gains is whenever an asset is increasing. And so it could be a mutual fund, index fund, individual stock, or even like real estate property and everything, right? So we have that going on. And let's see. And then also, rental income will be the sixth one, rental income. And, a lot of times, a great example of that is rental properties, right?
Yep.
Real estate properties where when you're getting in the rent. But also, you have another example of rental income with the Turo, right? That you've done.
Yep. Yep. So
Okay.
it's similar to Airbnb where you have that short term rental,
Mhm.
Turo, car rental, where you could put your car vehicle on a platform
Mm.
to be rented out from others. And you can make a good profit just from doing that. And I always tell people when you're putting your assets on these different platforms,
Mm.
whether it's Airbnb or Turo, you want to make sure that you're also cash flowing. So
Mm.
you want to be able to pay your asset off if you do owe on your asset, but also you're making enough that you can also pocket to invest into other things as well. So
Point.
I
Very
think
good point.
Turo is very lucrative.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Very good point. Now, with the Turo, are you doing cars that you actually own outright, or are you leveraging like debt? Like, where is there like a car loan and then you are, what I'm saying, putting them out? How do you?
Yeah, leveraging debt, so
Oh,
car note,
wow.
which that's something we can get into as well. stay away from car notes if you really want to, increase your wealth, because paying something monthly on top of insurance will hold you back, especially if you have a car note where it's $600-700. Stay away from that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Turo is very lucrative of leveraging that debt, so that you can make money off of your asset.
Yes, that's good. So Turo, renting cars, and also like we were mentioning about real estate, right? Owning
Yeah.
rental properties. Now, in your real estate experience, have you only focused on short-term rentals, or have you also done long-term rentals as well?
I've done long-term rentals, and actually prefer long-term rentals better because it's less of a headache, in a
That's
sense of I don't have to worry about a cleaning crew coming
that's
in every
right.
other day or week.
That's right.
Um, but also with long-term, you do have to worry about um, your assets being ruined, meaning
Good point.
tenants coming in there and
Good point.
breaking things or staining things. It's more liability when it comes to long term versus short term.
Yes.
And with short term, you're protected
Right.
by Airbnb or VRBO because
Right.
of their different policies and things and such. So,
Yes. I totally relate to that because actually, with my real estate experience, I got my first I invested in my first rental property about a year ago and a little bit over a year ago. And I was focused on short-term rental and mid-term rental and everything. But because like you were saying, like the control factor, I like the fact that I was able to control the protection, in terms of Airbnb, air cover and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I noticed, that yeah, it is a lot of hassle, a lot of work and everything. And so now I'm transitioning to long term. But I'm starting to, realize that, wow, wait a minute though, how am I going to control to make sure, so making sure that in the lease we have some good house rules and all that kind of stuff. Let me ask
right. And
you
then,
about, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, and then you got tenants who come in. What happens if they stop paying rent? What
Right,
if they pay first
right,
month's, they pay the deposit, and then
right,
they fall behind?
right,
Now you have
correct,
to go through the whole litigation process of an
right,
eviction. That takes
right,
time and money.
right.
So it's pros and cons and risk on both ends, short term, long term.
True, and you got to vet people, especially on the long
Yeah.
term, and even short term too, of course. But especially on the long term, you got to really vet people. You got to look at their income. Should you do maybe make sure that they have at least three times the rent in terms of their income, or I've even seen 2.5 times the rent as income.
I would say that, and people, since the pandemic, I've noticed people have begun to become smart with
Mm,
how they're getting into these properties. So
right.
they're using CPNs, which is using someone else's social security number,
Wow,
using false bank statements, false
wow,
pay stubs. So, like you said, you really have to vet these people that's coming in. So, to mitigate all of that, I tell people look into Section 8.
wow,
Section 8, you might not have the best of the best when it comes to tenants,
right.
but you're guaranteed to
Mm,
get your profits. You're
mm,
guaranteed to make your money.
right.
So
Point.
there's a risk with that. You might have a tenant who doesn't take care of your property, but
Right.
on the other hand, you know that you're secured and you're getting your money
Right.
every month. So
Good point. So now, in terms of trying to mitigate the risk of your property being torn up, one is house rules. Have some really clear house rules up front. Have the house rules. Number two, how do you handle inspections? Because you don't want to be overbearing on the tenant, but at the same time, you do want to make sure you're monitoring the condition of your property. Heard some people say every quarter, some people say every year. Some people think that a monthly inspection might be, too much. What are your thoughts?
I say every quarter.
Every
Every
quarter.
quarter you should do an inspection.
Okay.
Every year just doesn't make sense to me, because what if their person is only there for a year? They signed a 1 year lease,
Right.
unless you're doing 2 year leases. But I say every quarter.
Okay.
And also be an active landlord
Mm,
with your property.
mm,
Let your guests know that you're here for them. You support them. Keep your lawn care and kept.
mm.
So being active is where your tenants will know. Okay, so Sean comes around the property every week or every month or every quarter, make sure we're good. He checks in on us. Do we need anything? I think oftentimes with independent versus like big corporations for property management, sometimes we forget about our tenants.
Mm.
Once they're in the house, we just okay until it's time for them to pay rent. We forget about them, but being really active can make a difference
I
long
like
term.
that. Like that. Very good. Good point. Good point. And so we have, oh, and then now number seven is royalty income. Ooh, this is an exciting one, right? Where it's like you build the asset. So you do have to put in work up front to build the asset, but once the asset is built, then it's all like passive income or very minimal level of ongoing effort to maintain the asset. So an example of that is YouTube monetization, right? You build a YouTube channel and you're putting out, valuable content and you're able to monetize your YouTube channel, then that, off the advertising, right? YouTube will be, it's called AdSense, right? And
Yeah.
they every month they'll be paying you based off your YouTube videos, so that's a good one. And then also Amazon KDP, you can self-publish a book through Amazon KDP, and then people buying your book and you get that royalty income from Amazon. Another thing I want to mention is a company called SynOwl. And this is for digital assets. And I've done this. I have this little booklet about teaching people about how to pass the mortgage exam. And I get, people buying the book and everything by buying it's a digital download. It's a PDF download.
Right.
Buy it's like $15. And it's amazing. It's that, every time someone buys it, I get that royalty coming in. And SendOut only takes a certain percent, a small percentage of the sale, So thinking about royalty income, like assets, that you just build and then you just let that pay for you. Online courses is another example. I think one of the things I want to get into is membership, monthly membership subscriptions, where like a mastermind group where, well, I'm going to always be giving out free content, but I also want to add a piece where it's like a paid content, like a paid mastermind group, and people maybe pay like a sign up fee as well as a monthly subscription, to it, But just thinking about some ideas. Simone, what are your ideas about royalty income?
Oh, I think it's great, and I think that you hit the nail on the point when you said talked about your real estate selling courses. So I use an app called excuse me, Gumroad, and I sell Airbnb ebooks, business credit ebooks,
Wow.
how to start an Airbnb company, just ebooks that I've been able to set up myself and sell them on Gumroad, and they take like a small percentage out as well, and that's something that I get once somebody make a sale, but also I think affiliate links
Ooh, affiliate link.
is great as well for you to the things that we like to wear or the things that we like to use every day,
Yeah.
selling those to people could
Yeah.
be very lucrative as
Love
well.
that. Why? I've never heard of Gumroad. So how do you spell that? Is that Gum Road?
Yep. Yep. And ROAD.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gumroad. Okay, Gumroad. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so it's a website. You create an account, and then do you upload your
Correct.
digital
Yep. You will upload your digital assets on there, and then you market, you promote it yourself, and then every time you get a sale, they take like a little percentage out, which isn't going to hurt you. So
right? Oh, that's
yeah.
excellent, excellent, excellent. Wow, that's excellent. And then let me ask you this. This is great. This is great brainstorming. So, Simone, what are your thoughts for the future about royalty income? Like, are you planning to continue with the Gumroad and sell digital assets? And
Yep,
yeah,
definitely.
okay.
I'm
Okay.
working on something else now
Oh,
that I have billboards, teaching
oh,
people how to sell billboards. So
that's
want to
awesome.
start an ebook that I can sell on Gumroad that will allow people to purchase so that they can start selling billboards themselves,
That's
digital
excellent.
billboards.
And let me know. And so and also with Gumroad, right? So you're loading up like a PDF. ebook?
Yes.
A PDF? Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Is there also a function to load up like videos as well, or no? Is it just only video?
Um, I'm not quite sure
Okay,
because I've
gotcha.
never tried the videos, but
Okay,
I can
gotcha.
definitely check on that and
Okay, gotcha.
let you
But
know.
but but the ebook, and you know what's interesting is that it's not that difficult to build an ebook, right? I
It's
mean,
not at all.
PDF, right? You know?
Yeah. It's a
So
PDF. Yep. And
yeah.
then there's different platforms out there like Fiverr, Upwork, where
Oh,
you can have a freelancer make your ebook for $30. Like it's
oh,
so there's different platforms out here that can help you assist you with that.
I like it. I like it. And you know, the thing I like about digital assets is that we don't have to pay for the printing of anything, you know, the
Exactly.
download.
Yep. It's
Wow.
all electronic, but then the marketing is on you. You have to
For sure.
market, put it
Uh-huh.
out there, get
Yeah.
your sales. So
Yes. So how are you marketing your digital assets?
So I use Instagram. Instagram
Oh,
has
okay.
been very lucrative for me. When I first, so funny, I first started my business, my credit business. I was posting on Facebook Marketplace. I got like 100 clients within the first few months just
Wow.
from Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace shut me down for years because of that. Because every time they were like restrict me and I would do it again, restrict me, do it again, because I was getting so many clients from there. And
Wow.
so as of like this past weekend, I was like, let me try Facebook Marketplace to see if they will unban me. Let me, submit something and for them to review. And now I'm not banned anymore. They took the ban off my account, so now I can post on Facebook Marketplace again. But also just word of mouth is great. Using your social media platforms could definitely help you to gain different sales.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the main digital assets that you're currently selling?
Oh, so my Airbnb course, my business credit course. Those are the two right now: how to build business
Wow.
credit, and then how to start an Airbnb with zero. So,
Oh, that is excellent, excellent,
yeah.
excellent. And so the digital assets, so people will go on, they will pay it, and they will download. How much is it currently for those people?
I want to say it's about like $15. No, it's $20 right now.
$20. Okay, okay, 20.
Yeah,
And so people will download it. And then do you so is that it or is there any extra so like because I imagine that they might have questions. Like do you ever get people reaching back out to you with questions or anything or how does
I
that?
do, and they'll send me a message like, "Hey, I'm interested in buying this ebook. I just have questions." They may ask questions before or after, and I'm always open to it if I see the messages. So that's great. But everything is pretty much in the ebooks. But I also do provide courses as well.
Oh,
So, so if someone wanted to take a course on Airbnb, how to start an Airbnb business with little to nothing, I do that as well. Or how to build business credit from scratch. I do
right.
that courses as well. So,
So regarding your courses, which platform are you using for your courses?
so I use is it EDM EDX
Oh,
edx.com?
oh,
Yeah,
edx.com. Okay.
yeah, and then that's one of the platforms I market on, and I also do Zoom one-on-one Zoom calls as well.
One-on-one Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So EDX, yeah, I'm not familiar with EDX.com. I guess, have you heard of Thinkific? Might be something like a
Think t-
Thinkific? No?
no.
Okay, but
Udemy.
yeah, Udemy. Okay, so something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Thinkific's kind of similar to
I was on Udemy at one point
you're
too.
okay, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. So in that platform, of course, you are loading up video clips and it's like different, like a series and everything. I
Yeah. Yeah. And
wow.
then also I think great one-on-one is great too, but also which we should incorporate like group classes,
Yes.
where
Yes.
we all come in mastermind in a group
Right.
or, teach people in group settings. It's
Right.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you thinking about like the structure in terms of like the one-on-one or even like the group setting, Zooms and whatever? Are you thinking of like a structuring like a boot camp where you have like a like a maybe it's like an 8 week series, or is it more just fluid where you're just kind of as the need arises, you're just kind of organizing, you know? the Zooms?
So I think the boot camp would be nice. You can add different things in the boot camp.
Mm,
So from what I've been doing over the years, it's just
mm,
I've been doing like the group
mm,
meetings, and I'll break it down. Like first week we'll talk about just the fundamentals of starting a business
mm,
before we get into Airbnb. Like, is being an entrepreneur even something that you want to do or not?
mm.
Because it can be very time consuming, and especially if you work a 9 to 5,
Right.
you might not always feel like you have enough time to be starting another. So, and
That's
then
a
we
good
go into the
point.
different
Good point.
elements,
Good point. Now, one of the challenges that I've seen in terms of group coaching is you have people at different levels.
levels.
And so
Yeah.
I find it could be kind of difficult because you might have one person that's asking questions, on a beginner level, and then you're dealing with that, and then you have another, other students that are way advanced and they can get bored. And then the flip side is that some of these advanced students that are asking these high level questions where the beginning students have like no clue of the terminology and everything, So
Yeah.
how have you been able to address that type of issue, of the different levels?
Um,
Yeah, it could be
well,
difficult.
because when I am marketing the courses, it's how to start an Airbnb
Uh,
for with zero money down for beginners.
for beginning.
So you coming in, you probably know nothing about Airbnb. You
Right.
probably just heard the terminology,
Got
maybe stayed in an Airbnb, so you really don't know much about it. Um, but then I see that as a with somebody else in the group may be more advanced, they can
it.
assist someone else who
Ah,
isn't advanced. So it's learning for everyone.
true, true. And I guess even the advanced people, it's helpful for them to be reminder of the basics in a way. You know what I'm saying? And all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. But yeah, I guess one thing I noticed that because you advertise it as a beginner class, then you kind of are making sure that everybody's kind of like on a general same level in a way, right?
exactly.
I
Yeah,
see. I see.
yeah.
That's a good point. Good point. Wow, this is great. This is great. So we got these types of income streams, and then now, of course, with a lot of these things, in order to leverage debt, right? So like with real estate, right? I mean, in order, to get a DSCR loan, a debt coverage service ratio loan, even though it's a loan where they're going to base it on the asset, they still look at your personal credit score, even though
Right.
it's through your business and everything. And so one of the things I've realized is that it's important for people to really optimize their credit score because it's going to open the door for them to be able to do a lot of these types of businesses in terms of real estate and everything. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this whole thing about how to improve your credit score. Let's talk about some ideas. One idea is, people need to strengthen their credit profile because their credit profile is what determines their credit score, right? And so everybody should be going on to www.annualcreditreport.com at least once a year, maybe even once every quarter or so,
And
just to
it's free.
start, or even every month, even. They can, it's free, and you go on there and you could print out copies of your credit report, one from each of the three credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And look at what's on your credit report, And a lot of people rely on the like the online banking, but a quick note for people to understand is that even though your online banking might be giving you like some data from your credit report, it's not comprehensive. You really need to go to the annualcreditreport.com website and actually print the full report so that you see all the details and everything. Also, you need to
Yeah.
check for any type of errors and stuff. So,
Right. And
anything to add to that? Yeah.
yeah, and also with checking your credit, people use like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame.
Right.
Those aren't reliable. Those aren't your actual FICO scores.
Right.
And that's why people will go to the dealership or try to get a credit card and they're like, well, my Credit Karma says I'm at a 680. But
Right.
then they check their Experian and their Experian says they're at 650. It's
Right.
because Credit Karma is ensuring your actual FICO score. So,
That's
and there's multiple different FICO scores. Like when you get a
yes,
car, it's a FICO score for that. So you want to make sure you know, go right to the source to know exactly what your credit score is.
yes.
I did want to
Mm,
go back for a second.
sure, sure.
One thing we didn't talk about with the seven streams of income,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about trading in stocks, trading stocks and options,
Oh, good
option
question. Good
trading?
question. Okay, so now, so personally, I like more passive investments where it's set it, forget it. But
Right, same.
I do have a lot of people in my network that like those active investments. I even have a student of mine who is a day trader, right? He's trading stuff. He's using something like Webull and stuff like
Yeah,
these type of like, apps where you can actually buy and sell individual stocks. I personally, I'm not into that. My advice to people that do want to get into that is okay, if you want to get into that, that's cool, but don't make it a large portion of your portfolio. Keep it as a small because I feel like it's so risky when
it's
you get with
risky.
individual stocks. How about you, Simone? Have you ever thought about getting into that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and that's where when you were talking about like setting up classes like beginning, intermediate, like the levels, what if this person's more advanced versus this one? I've always thought about getting into learning how to trade stocks, day trading, but every course that I've seen, it's just like I want to start from the beginning. I don't know exactly. I don't know nothing that I'm doing. I don't know what to buy, or I don't know. I don't. That's just not my lane.
Yes.
And so when I see people selling these courses, I'm like hesitant on actually moving forward because I feel like I'll be in a class with people who already know what they're doing, more
Right.
experts. And this is very risky. This is not just something you buy a stock and you just hold off. It's very
Right.
risky, and you have to. It's kind
Right.
of like forex. You got to know what you're doing. And
Yes.
so because I don't know anything about it, I've kind of just stayed away. And I'm
I'm
like
the
you
same
myself,
way.
passive. I like to
Right.
invest in something and let it go and just watch it
Exactly.
grow.
Exactly right. I think about a friend of mine, Bria, who's really into that whole individual stock thing too and everything. And so yeah, they're very good point. Another thing about cryptocurrency, I still don't really understand crypto, Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. I really still don't. And a rule of investing is this. Never, never invest in something that you do not understand. You're right. And
Right.
so, I mean, I know, a lot of people would get excited about this Bitcoin and Ethereum and all this kind of stuff. Have you
Yeah.
ever looked into any of that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, I've made a lot of money with
Oh,
Ethereum, Bitcoin. I've also lost a lot of money
oh,
with it as
wow.
well. During the pandemic, it was probably at the height of, I think
Wow.
it reached like 80,000 or something. Like it went up there, and then it
Wow.
went down. So I, I've made good money with it, but I also lost a lot of money with it. So
Wow.
it's very tricky, and it's one of those things where you have to know what you're doing. You got to know when to get in and when to get out. And that's the thing. Sometimes you'll hear these gurus like, "Oh, it went up today. Hold on, hold on, hold on," and then 2 days later, it crashes. It goes down, and now
Right.
you've lost thousands, hundreds, and thousands of dollars. You
Yes.
know, and a lot of these like new age, I would say, like
Mhm.
Bitcoin, crypto, all that type of stuff, day trading. Well, day trading been around for decades, but like Bitcoin, it's a lot of FOMO involved, fear
Right.
of missing out, because you'll hear your buddy say, "Oh, I just made this today from investing in Bitcoin. Go buy you some Bitcoin,"
Mhm.
and then when you buy it, and then tomorrow it goes down, but he
Right.
didn't tell you should get in and get out, you
Right.
know. So
Good point. Good point. Yeah. So I guess what we're saying is, hey, look, if people want to do that, it's okay, but don't make it a big portion of your portfolio, right? Of your
right,
portfolio, right? I mean, stick with stuff that's more steady and tried and true, like S&P 500, right? The stock market, like
yeah,
index funds and stuff. Because now, even though, I mean, stock market, there is risk, but over the long term, it always goes up. I was looking
yeah,
at a graph and it showed like the history of the returns of the S&P 500. And you'll see how every few years, every few years, it takes a dip. It does take a dip. And sometimes that dip can be a very significant dip. But that's only every few years. for the majority, it's increasing. And if you look at
Right.
any 10-year span, or say 20-year span, any 20-year span of the stock market, it has always gone up. So
Yeah.
long-term investing. And so I would say first prioritize like maxing out your Roth IRA into like a index fund, and everything before you get into some of these other, risky investments and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, good point. Good point about that. So now with the in credit score, and then also, people need to improve their credit score. They need to focus on these five components, especially the top two, right? But there's five things that make up their credit score, right? Payment history, which is 35%, um, credit utilization, which makes up 30% of their
3%.
score,
Yeah.
right? Credit age, which makes up 15% of their score, credit mix, which makes up 10% of their score, and hard inquiries, which make up 10%. What's interesting, when you look at that number, when you break down these numbers, you'll see, and this is a very interesting thing when you think about it. So the credit range, right? Like the range of credit scores goes from 300 to 850, right? 300
Mm-hmm.
to 850, right? It's like the absolute lowest is 300. You can't get lower than 300, right? And then
Right. And
850
most
is the
people
highest.
not even that low.
Right, right. No, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But so the possible so therefore if the range is if the possible range is from 300 to 850, that means there are 550 available points, right? That a person can have in their credit score, right? And so when we break down those 550 available points, we see that regarding payment history, 192.5 points are available just based off of a person's payment history. 165 points can be based off of credit utilization. 82.5 points based on credit age. 55 points can be based on credit mix, and 55 points also can be based on hard inquiries, So when you think
Right.
about it that way, it's interesting to see how these top two ones really are the most significant, the payment history and the credit utilization,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. So it's interesting how people really need to understand how their credit score is even calculated so that they can develop strategies to maximize their score. One of the tips is this: reverse the impact of any late payments because you want to flood your credit report with on-time payments because one late payment can cause a credit score to drop by up to 100 points. Depending on your credit history, it can drop. One late payment can cause your credit score to drop 100 points. And so now I heard about this 11 to 1 rule that talks about how it takes at least 11 on-time payments to offset the negative impact of one late payment.
Late payment. Yeah.
Yeah, is that something? Wow. So that,
Yeah.
that payment history thing is huge. So what are some things that people can do to make sure that they're paying their bills on time? Like, do you recommend auto payments and stuff? You know?
Um, Auto payments can be important just so that they can make their payments on time, but I think it just starts first with sitting down and um having a shot of like all of your
Mm,
credit cards, all your
mm,
bills,
mm,
what you owe, having an idea of all of that, what's your monthly payments,
mm,
um
mm,
starting there and
mm.
doing that is important. I also believe because auto pay, I've seen people. I don't know how I feel about auto pay,
Oh,
honestly.
really?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, because you feel like there's a fear that might be an overdraft, like if they don't have the money in the bank and then they try.
Yeah, that because I've seen that happen with people. They don't have the money in the bank, and with Wells Fargo, I think they charge like a $30 overdraft
Oh, the
fee.
overdraft.
Um, and then it's hard for people to just remember, like I have to pay this credit card bill this month, especially if you have multiple different credit cards.
Wow.
Um, so I'm not sure. What's your thoughts on that?
So here's what they can do too is the a lot of people don't understand don't are not aware that the credit card companies will allow you, or at least a lot of them will allow you to request the payment date. Like if you like suppose the
True.
credit card company is the payment date on these bills is like say the 20th of every month. Well, but if it's more convenient for you in terms of like the flow of your money to make it to be maybe the first of the month, you could actually request that the credit card, change the actual payment date, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So that might be helpful because maybe some people might want to make sure that they pay the credit cards right after they get paid their paycheck or something like that or whatever, So
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing. Also, if they know that they're going to be late, they should call the credit
Call.
card company in advance,
Yeah.
right?
And they'll give you a time. It's a lot of this what people don't know is communicating. You
Right,
know, people don't
right,
know that you can call and ask for extension or,
right,
you can also ask to have a late payment removed if you
right.
get behind by chance. Um, but you have to call and communicate. But also with that too, you have to establish a good rapport with these
Right.
banks. If they see, okay, you make your payments all the time, what might you get behind? We're human beings. Life happens, right? They'll remove that late payment or they'll give you an extension to make your payment, but just not doing anything about it is where people ruin their credit.
That's a good point.
Because once you get behind after a certain time, people just like, screw it. It's already behind. Oh, well.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about, kind of sitting down and really looking at all your bills and everything, and then, having that budget, being prepared in advance to say, okay, if you know that, okay, in about 2 weeks, this is going to be coming through, what I'm saying? Being prepared to handle it, right? Wow.
Yeah. And I
That's,
think a lot of people, they got the thing about what I'm learning is people have more money than they even realize. If
mm,
if you say, okay, for the next 6 months, I'm gonna cut out eating out. I'm gonna cut out going to get my nails done. I'm gonna cut out going to get my hair done. I'm gonna cut out going out for drinks, going out for dinner. You know how much money you will be able to save within those 6 months,
true.
but people don't do that. So they are living paycheck to paycheck because they're paying their rent and they're buying things on Amazon or, living, you know, just living.
Wow.
So,
That's a good point. That's a good point. Awareness. A lot
yes,
of people are not even aware of how much money they're spending at Starbucks, say,
right.
right? They're not, and also too,
Them little $5 add up now.
yeah, yeah, it really does. It really does. Also, too, there are a lot of people that have subscriptions that are charging them every month, and they're not even using the
Using the
subscription, not
yep,
even aware that the subscription is still charging them.
yep,
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing. So excellent point. Excellent point. So so we're talking about so we were paying on time, preparing to pay on time. You mentioned something about asking, I love that. You mentioned about asking the credit card company to remove certain late payments, it
yep,
might work. And so I heard that's a goodwill adjustment, right? So
right,
you should
yep,
request a goodwill adjustment and everything. Um, so also because really, late payments can stay on your credit report for up to 7 years, right?
yeah.
Unless they are removed through a dispute or a goodwill adjustment. Yeah, yeah.
Right. And then
So,
also too with like inquiries, you can call to have inquiries removed or you can submit
right,
a dispute for inquiries.
right.
And I always tell people like for instance, you want to go buy a car. Don't go to the dealership and have them run your run your social to all these different banks because
Right,
they're going to run the banks until they get approved.
right.
Start off with going to your bank, seeing if your bank would approve you,
Mm,
or go to a credit union, see if they will approve you because the interest rates would be lower, and then shop around for your vehicle.
right,
But start with your bank first before going to a dealership because they're just going to run your bank, give you all these run your social. Now you have all these inquiries from one
right.
car on your credit report, and inquiries I think fall off every 2 to 3 years or so.
Mm, okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
that's 10% of your credit score.
You're right. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good point. Good point. Good point. And you get real creative with that too. Like those of us that have a business, right? We could even look at buying a car in our business name,
Name.
which
Yep.
could be now, although, I guess the drawback would be most likely. the interest rate would be a little bit higher, and everything.
Yeah.
But there's benefits I get, but one of the benefits though is that if it's under your business name, the loan won't show up on your personal credit report. Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's a good thing. And it's going to help you build business credit by having, a car.
Exactly.
Wow, wow. Have you ever thought about that, Simone, buying a car under your business name?
Yep, I have definitely thought about that, and it could be a tax write-off as well.
Tax write-off. Yeah.
So that's something I'm looking forward to doing in
Yeah,
2025.
me too. Me too.
Yeah.
My next purchase, I'm going to definitely look into that. I got to,
Yeah.
of course, what we have to do is compare. It's important to do a cost benefit analysis in terms of that interest rate being higher, and everything.
Right.
So all that. Yeah. Wow. 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 That's good. So now, what about strategically paying your credit cards,
Oh,
right?
I like that.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Um, everyone, is aware of their due date, right? Because it's right on the statement. But also people need to be aware of what their credit card statement date is, which
Hmm.
and confirm, like just double confirm. It probably is, but double confirm that their statement date is the actual reporting date. Because here's the thing that a lot of people are not aware of when we talk about credit usage and all that kind of stuff, really, there's only one day every month that your credit card is reporting your credit usage to the credit bureaus, right? So theoretically, you could max out your credit card on all the other days of the month, but when that one particular day comes, which is the reporting date, right? Which I guess most likely is also the statement date, but double check to make sure it is. But when that reporting date comes along, you want to make sure your credit usage is at a very low level because that's going to really boost your credit score, you know? So,
Yeah.
interesting thing.
Also, a little trick with that is, let's say if your monthly um, due, your amount is like $100. You owe $100 a month.
Mhm.
Pay 50 at the beginning of the month, and
Mm,
then pay another 50 right before your statement date. Or no, I think you do 50 before your due date, and then 50 before your statement date. And so it's kind of like you're tricking the system. Well, you are tricking the system, because you're making two payments in 1 month. Does
right.
that make sense?
Right. That's right. That's right. So wait, so are you saying that by making it then when they calculate I got you because it's going to count in terms of your on-time payments, you mean?
That and that
Yeah.
will help boost up your score.
Yeah, your score. Oh, I see. Because you have more payments now. You
Correct.
have one
Yeah.
payment, you have two payments. Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
very clever. Very clever. That's good. That's good. Now, here's the thing to note, though, too, right? Is that by the statement date, right, or slash reporting date, all right. So before the reporting date comes along, you want to pay down your balance to be under 10%,
10%.
ideally under 10%, but above 1%. Because here's the thing, if you pay it off to zero by the reporting date, that's actually a bad thing because um, you want the credit card company to report that you're actually using your credit card, right?
Right.
Pay it
Yeah.
off. If you pay it off to zero, then it's going to look so in the eyes of the credit reporting agencies, it's going to look like you're not using any credit at all, and that's
Hmm.
bad, right? Having no like not getting any credit for using credit, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to help you, right? So you definitely want to, have them report that you do have an outstanding balance, but you want it to be under 10%. Um,
But over
but
one.
uh, but over 1%, right? So
Yeah.
anywhere between one, say, I mean, I would even say anywhere between 1 and 9%. You want to, make it that way because that way you're showing that you are using credit, but you're using a very small portion of it, right?
Right.
Then, of course, by the due date, you want to pay the balance off in full. That's important because you don't want to have to pay any type of interest on
Right.
on it, right?
Right.
So yeah, so that's a really cool strategy, you
And
know?
interest is that's why a lot of people are in debt because they don't
Right.
know this.
That's right. That's right. Because these credit cards, some of these credit card companies are what, charging close to 30% interest, you know?
Yeah. And that's really how they're making their money off of
Yeah.
the interest. That's
Off the-
like car notes.
Yes.
mortgages. All it's all interest.
Yes.
All
Wow.
interest.
Wow. 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 And then another tip is ask like on a systematic basis, maybe once or two times a year, maybe even quarterly, ask for a credit limit increase for each card. Because
Mm.
because the higher your credit limit is, then the easier it's going to be for you to maintain a small credit utilization.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
cool. Cool, cool, cool. So wow, that's amazing about, and then also too, you make sure that you pick the right type of credit cards, right? You want to, choose a credit card that's going to be reporting to all three of the credit reporting bureaus, right? And everything.
Right.
That way you get that benefit of
And
that.
stay away from consumer cards. That's
Right.
what
Stay
eats people up. So I tell people if you're gonna, you know, try if you're gonna start a business,
Mhm.
try to do everything under your business. So
Right.
gas cards,
Right.
spending cards for your business, like Uline, Granger, all those are for your business. But
Yeah.
just try to stay away from like the Saks, the Neiman Marcus, the
Yes.
Nordstrom cards. Like you don't need those.
Yeah.
Those are consumer debts and those are just Macy's just to get you to spend money
Right.
shopping that doesn't help you in the long term. So
Yes, 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 yes.
mhm.
Oh, that's deep. That's so deep. So yes, when we're looking at this, and of course, like stuff like credit age, it just comes from time, right? So we want people
Right.
starting, as early as possible to start to, have a credit card, but to be careful how you use it and stuff like that, and all that. But yeah, those top two, payment history, got to pay your bills on time, and also you got to keep your credit utilization down low. So that's awesome. So by doing this, it's going to help people to get those high credit scores. I would say if they can get above a 760, they are golden. Like
Yeah.
they'll qualify for the best interest rates, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's good. Good, good, good. So
And you guys start today. Just look at your credit report. You could start somewhere just as simple as looking at them hard inquiries. Calling Experian. I think Experian remove
mm,
inquiries in 48 hours or 72 hours.
wow.
Just start there with the inquiries and then
Yes.
because it's going to be harder if you have negative items on your reports to get removed. It's a harder process,
Hmm.
but it's not the end of the world. So I always tell people when it comes to credit, don't stress out, don't worry. I've seen people fix their credit, ruin it, fix it, ruin it.
Yeah.
So just take your time, but you have to know what's going on and educate yourself
Yes.
so that you can prevent from you know getting in a sucking hole again. So
Yes, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And then having a good credit score is going to open up so many doors for you in
Yeah.
terms of investments, especially in the real estate, buying real estate. How many real estate properties do you own, Simone?
So I got two right now,
Wow. Okay.
but I'm looking to, and then I also have land in Arkansas.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, that's going to be another thing that I'm going to be doing 2025 is getting a loan, a construction loan, so that we can start building up on that land.
Excellent. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and it's
That is
it's
very,
near,
mhm.
yeah, University of Arkansas. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That is
it's right
very,
next walking distance. So I've been thinking about maybe tiny homes or
wow.
something like dorms or something for
Yeah.
student
That's
housing. Yeah,
excellent, Simone. Wow, at such a
yeah,
young age, you're really doing it. You're really doing it.
yeah.
And a lot of people, are just afraid to get into real estate because they just don't know,
They
right? They
don't
don't
know.
know
Yeah.
and everything. So in fact, man, amazing how time flies. So now for our next episode, next week, we want to dig into helping people get prepared for real estate investing, and everything. And so next week we're going to dig deep into different things that you've learned along the way, Simone, in terms of being able to acquire these properties that you've acquired, and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm excited.
Yes, 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 yes. Me too. Awesome, guys. So we'll see you guys back here next week for our next episode. Simone, have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. You too, Lance. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.